Okay, everyone. Hi, my name is Dr. Jennifer Gardella. I am a social media and blogging consultant working out of, well, now my home in the Doylestown, Pennsylvania area. I have on the phone with me today Anthony Quackenbush, who is a personal injury attorney down in the Florida area. And Anthony, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you doing this.
Oh, no problem. And I was hoping that you could explain to us a little bit about your firm.
Sure. Well, I am a trial lawyer, specifically plaintiff's trial lawyer. And so I represent mostly, just about all, injured people. And so I like to say that if somebody's injured due to the fault of somebody else, and that somebody else could be an individual or a corporation, then I'll represent the injured person. And that injury can be caused in many different ways. Frequently, the injuries are caused by car accidents, or it could be in a premises liability situation where one person is on somebody else's property and there's a dangerous condition on the property, and so an injury is caused by the dangerous condition. Then I'll represent the injured person against the property owner or against the insurance company for the property owner. It could be a medical malpractice case where a doctor or a hospital or a nurse or other medical provider is negligent or commits malpractice and causes injury. So I'll represent people in that scenario. And then it could also be products liability situation where somebody buys a product, whether it be a household appliance or a child's toy, or any kind of product at all that malfunctions or is defective and causes injury. Then I'll represent the injured person against the manufacturer or the seller of the product. So I handle all different types of personal injury cases, but 99% of my cases involve physical injury to the victim.
Yeah, and I just want to say, as I've talked with a lot of individuals in the Florida area who are also attorneys and have worked with you, the one thing that they always say is that you operate with one of the highest levels of integrity that they've ever seen in the legal profession. You have quite a reputation out there.
Thank you. I try. I appreciate you saying that. It's important because, well, one, it's just the right way to act and behave, but number two, it's important career because, especially where I practice, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is a relatively small community. I mean, it's a real city, but it's not New York or Chicago or something. So everybody knows everybody else, and so you gotta protect your reputation. If you treat somebody poorly or you do something unethical or whatever, it's going to spread like wildfire. So your reputation, especially in a small legal community like this one, is really important. But I appreciate you saying that, Jen.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us, what's going on with the courts down there in Florida?
Not too much. Well, I shouldn't say that. A lot is going on with the courts virtually. Not much is going on in terms of live in-person hearings. In fact, nothing's going on with that. The courthouse has been shut down here in Broward County until the end of May, and I believe that the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court has ordered that live hearings across the state of Florida not take place through the end of May. So nobody's going to court in person. Nobody's standing in a courtroom and arguing to a judge or to a jury or anything like that. However, everything else is going on business as usual, just virtually. So we're doing things like this by Zoom. I mean, last week I was in court, I think 4 out of the 5 days of the week, just by Zoom, over the video. And the depositions are going on, so I'm still taking depositions of witnesses in my cases. Defense attorneys are still taking depositions of my clients. Again, it's all by Zoom. I even had a virtual mediation, which for those of you who don't know what a mediation is, that's where we get together with the opposing side, the opposing attorney and the opposing party, and we negotiate to see if we can settle our cases. And I even had one of those by Zoom. It was a little clunky, a little awkward at first, but eventually we were able to do it. So, and it was interesting. I could talk more about this, but it was interesting how we did it, because in a real mediation, everybody's in their separate rooms, and the mediator will come over to one side and ask for, what they're looking for to settle the case, and they'll go back over to the other side and find out what they're offering, and it's all confidential. So you're in your separate rooms, and it's all private and confidential. So in the Zoom mediation, you have like actual virtual rooms where only certain people can be in certain rooms, certain people can be in other rooms. So, but anyway, long story short, everything is proceeding. Cases are moving forward. We're still resolving cases. I've settled numerous cases since the pandemic started. So things are moving forward. It's just we're having to adjust and do it in a different way, and it's virtually. That's how we're doing it.
Sounds like it's working. I do know that those Zoom rooms can be tricky to navigate the tech of, so I really do
Yes.
give a lot of credit to the lawyers who have continued to maintain their legal expertise and also become Zoom experts in the process.
That's right. Yep. It's we have two jobs now, I guess. For
Right.
IT and lawyers and IT.
Now, I would think
So,
that this would actually be I can't say great time to start a personal injury lawsuit, but a good time to start working with your office because you do so much behind the scenes work before anybody actually gets to mediation or sees a courtroom. Is that fair to say?
yeah, absolutely. And like I said, even once the case goes into litigation, even once we file a lawsuit, the cases are still moving. It's just, like I said, it's just in a different manner. But before we even get to that point, like you just said, there's a lot of work needs to go into a case in order to build it up to that point where it's ready for a lawsuit, where it's ready to go to court. So, for example, when I first get a new case, I have to I have to get in touch with the insurance company for the defendant. So if it's a car accident, for example, I have to figure out who the insurance company was for the person that hit my client. I have to reach out to them. I have to get the insurance policy. Then they ask me for a bunch of materials. They're going to want the police report. They're going to want pictures of my client's car. They're going to want my client's medical records, my client's medical bills. And so, yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into it, and it can be time consuming. It can take a long time before you get to the point where you're ready to file a lawsuit and you're ready to go to court. So, yeah, I don't think, everything going on with the pandemic, obviously it's tragic with what's going on, but in terms of what I do in the legal world, I don't think it's a reason to not begin a case because most personal injury lawsuits, people don't realize this, but most personal injury lawsuits on average will take at least a year from start to finish and probably longer, but at least a good year. So you want to get the clock ticking on that. You don't want to wait till everything's back to normal, and hopefully we're back to normal really soon. But whenever that is, you don't want to wait till everything's back to normal because you're going to have a ways to go anyway. So it's better to get the ball rolling now, get the clock ticking, and then so when we come out of this, you're really ready to hit the ground running with your case.
And how do people then start working with your office? Do you have electronic means of obtaining files from them?
Yes, I'm working virtually like everybody else, obeying the social distancing and the lockdown and everything else. So I'm working here at my home until told otherwise. But I'm able to do everything that I need to do here from my home. It kind of surprised me because when I first got sent home by the county or whatever, I was in a panic. How am I going to do all this? How am I going to work? Because I'm always the person that I like to go into my office and you know, uh, get away from home and just be in a different environment and work hard. So I was worried, am I going to be able to do it from home? Is it going to work the same way? And it's been a smooth transition. Uh, so, uh, but in answer to your question, how would it work in terms of me and the client? Everything would be the same. I guess the only difference is we probably wouldn't be meeting in person right now because they tell us, scientists tell us not to do that, but we'd be meeting virtually. We could do a Zoom call like the one we're on right now, so I can answer all the client's questions, talk through the case, talk about the strategy for the case. Any documentation that needs to be exchanged, we can do online through email or fax or what have you. When I get a new case, I have to have a client sign my retainer, my contract.
Right.
That can all be done digitally through a program I use called DocuSign. It's funny because before this all went down, I would have clients occasionally ask me, well, I want to move. I'm going to move out of town. I'm going to move to New York or California. Is that okay if I do that before my case ends? And I used to say, uh, I don't care if you're on the North Pole. As long as I can reach you, I can do your case. As long as you have your phone turned on. And now that actually carries with it a little bit more meaning because I'm not really able to meet with any of my clients in person. But as long as I'm able to reach a client, as long as I'm able to get on Zoom or pick up the phone and reach somebody, we can really do everything that we normally would do. And then again, when everything's back to normal, I'll start meeting with everybody again, and But for now, this is the way we got to do it. So it's the way we'll do it.
Great. Well, you've answered all my questions. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think just, I guess I just want to emphasize that, there's obviously a terrible tragedy that's happening to the world, and then also to all the individuals in the world. And I know everybody has their own stressors, their own personal stressors. Um, but I guess the point I want to emphasize is the legal system is moving forward. And that's what the Supreme Court of the state of Florida and the U.S. Supreme Court have told us to do. That's what the local judges here in town have told us to do. Life goes on, and we have to move forward through tragedy. Unfortunately, we have to move forward, and people still have their cases and still want justice. And new cases are going to be developing as time goes on. People are going to keep getting injured, unfortunately, and they're going to want their cases to move forward, and they're going to want justice. So that's what we're here for. We're not slowing down. We're just doing it in a different way. We'll get back to normal eventually, and hopefully sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, we're not stopping what we're doing. We're moving forward. So I did want to emphasize that to people. And then, of course, the communication will be just as strong as now as it was before this happened, in terms of communication between the lawyer and the client. Just the fact that we can't meet in person. Thank God this is happening in the the modern era. I can't imagine what people did. The last time there was a big pandemic, I guess back in the early 1900s. I don't know how people talk to each other or communicated, but now fortunately we have ways of doing that. So communication is going to be just as good as it was beforehand. I encourage all my clients, future clients, to reach out to me on my cell phone. I always give everybody my cell phone. I'm available 24/7. So please reach out to me with any questions. We'll keep communicating. And above all else, like I said, we're going to keep moving your cases forward. So everybody be safe and healthy, and contact me with any of your concerns. I appreciate you for doing this.
Yeah, I'll put contact information with the video for people to get in touch with you. It sounds like you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on down there. Let's just pray that Florida can start opening soon so you can go back to your office.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. We're watching the news every day. Hopefully soon.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jen. You have a nice day. I appreciate you.